Hello everybody, welcome back to Spill the Tea Lou. I am going live in a way that I don't normally go live. I'm using a different software, I'm testing it out, I want to see what happens. So if everything goes wrong, please bear with me. It's my own fault for trying something new, unattended, without my technical assistance here today. But we should be okay. If there's any issues, let me know. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Is everybody good? I see Rob is already in the house. Please smash a like on your way in, folks. It is lovely to see you. Obviously, this is quite a bit earlier than I normally go live. However, it is Sunday, and let's face it, there's nothing to do before the 2 p.m. game on a Sunday. You roll out of bed, you have your coffee, you have your tea, you have a bit of a breakfast, and then you're like, right, now we wait for the game. So I thought, well, do you know what I'll do? I'll go live. Sorry, I'm literally trying to fix. I don't notice these things when I'm just pottering around my house, cleaning and feeding my cats and doing my normal stuff. And then I go live and I can see myself on the screen and I'm like, oh my God, there is just hair everywhere. I look like I've been electrocuted or dragged through a bush. I have my little devil horns. No, I have not. I have just been running around the house trying to clean the cat's litter, feed the cats, make sure the cats are happy so that when I do go live, I can actually be live with you guys and not hear banging and crying inside my house. So hopefully that's good. Now, as I said, I am live in a different way than I normally am. So what I want to see is, can I still share the things the way I normally share the things? So let me see. If I click this, I know what's going to happen here. Excellent. Right. Okay. I know how that was going to work. I was just clicking some buttons and hoping that I wasn't going to turn off the stream. Actually, that's a little bit better than the way it normally goes, isn't it? Because I'm just down here in the corner. I'm covering some of the ad. I'm not actually even covering any of the screen, and we can still see everything I want to see. So excellent work, guys. Good team effort. I'm so glad we worked through that together. Anyway, do you know what I need to do? Never mind a football channel or football content. What I need to do is start a channel for technical assistance, IT guru in the making, learn how to work a computer with Lou. But yeah, so in the meantime, we are in fact going to talk about the football. I see is in the house. I see Mama Flossie is in the house. I see Guess is in the house. I see Jay is in the house. Everybody in the house. Everybody is saying hi. Everybody join us on this very lovely, very Sunday morning. Well, Sunday afternoon, we are 4 minutes past 12. It is now the afternoon, people, but it's still morning to me. As you see, when you come in chat, there is a poll. Should Dallo have seen red for his tackle on Doku? Yes, no, or it was a bit of an orange, therefore you're happy enough to leave it at the ref's discretion. As it stands, we have 43% for yes and 57% for orange, and we have nobody saying no. So that's an interesting one so far. As you come in, do get your votes in, do hit your like, do say hi to everybody. You will notice for the very first time today, I have turned on subscribers only mode in the chat. Now, we have 330 subscribers on the channel now, which is absolutely fantastic. But when the channel grows, obviously, the more people come in, the more maybe we get people that aren't as well-intentioned as the lovely gang we already have. And so for those that are new or maybe weren't here at the very, very, very beginning, although most of you are, it's really important to me that this channel is like a really relaxed, chilled out, just place to come to have a bit of crack, a bit of a chat, a bit of friendly, nice, fun banter, not nasty and being a horrible person and then I'm going to call it banter afterwards banter. Just somewhere to come and chill out, and you don't have to debate to the death. You don't have to prove everybody wrong. You don't have to convince a point, and you don't have to be nasty or argumentative. So I just want to make it subscribers only going forward, because I want the people that are in the chat to understand the vibe that we're going for and to be a part of the nice, chilled out, like fun community that we're building so far, because we all get on so well. We have so much fun in our lives. It's always so good natured, and I want to really hold on to that as the channel grows. I want to make sure that we hold on to that, and I would rather grow more slowly but in the way that I want it to be than grow really, really fast. So Rob is saying 1,000 soon. I wish, Rob, wish. Let me see, what else can I do? I'm just, as I said, I'm in a different way, so I'm just figuring out the things I can and can't do. Okay, so what I've just got, when I go live this way, I can put user comment on the screen. So, okay, that's something for me to know going forward, but I can still see them and I can still read them, and obviously you can still see each other, so that's all fine. Now, now that I have spoken for 5 minutes about how nice the channel is and how lovely you all are and how nice it is just that it's today and I don't have to work today, I am going to speak about football. But first, Mama Flossie, I am lagging for... It seems okay on my end. Is it laggy else? I'll be honest, even if it is, obviously I don't want it to lag, but if I'm not sure what I can do, am I just moving a bit sort of chunky, like pixely? Is the sound okay, or is it just the image seems to be lagging? And is it like really dreadful? Because I can't change it now because I'm already started. What I'll do is I'll just know going forward, this isn't the way, because I thought this might be a little bit easier for going live, but if it's going to lag or it's going to be a bit awkward, then I'll know not to use it again. So just keep me updated in the comments how it is, folks. Is it lagging? Is it lagging badly? Is it just the sound? Is it just the visuals? Is it both? Just let me know so I can know for again. I will look into it afterwards. Sound is fine, the lag isn't, but no, that's fine. You're better to tell me, Flossie, because I wouldn't have noticed otherwise, because obviously what I see is the original, which is my side, it looks completely smooth, so I don't see what you guys are seeing. So once the sound is, that's the main thing, but obviously I would like for the visual to be okay as well, because there's nothing worse than when I hate, when you watch a movie and sometimes, or a TV show, or even if it's dubbed sometimes, and the sound actually doesn't sync up to what you're seeing, it grinds me a wee bit. So I'm not going to blame anyone if it bothers them, the lagging. If that's happening and it is irritating, close your eyes and just listen. Just listen to my voice. I'll bring you to a place you've never been. But yes, so let's talk about something happy, because this is that I didn't know we were going to be talking about today, folks. I did not think we were going to be talking about Manchester United 2, Manchester City 0, and it could and should have been about 5-4-5-0. First of all, Shea absolutely smashed it. We were doing our predictions with Ash the other day. Everybody was in the chat. We were all talking about it. Nobody predicted Manchester United to win. Now, some people were more extreme than others. Some people were saying 4-5-0. Some people were saying 2-3-1. But Streets went out there on his own, went out there on a limb, and he said no. He said, my team, Manchester United, are going to go out there and they're going to win. I have faith in my team. I believe in them. They can do it. And sticking to my guns. And do you know what? Our Streets was absolutely 100% correct. And he got it bang on the money. He actually predicted 2-1 to Manchester United. So close to actually predicting the exact right score. And we did promise Streets a reward if he was correct. And so when we do our predictor next week with Ash, with you guys in the chat, Streets is going to be picking himself the result that he forecasts for Manchester United against Arsenal, because he has won the right, because he had faith when the rest of us didn't. He nailed it. The match itself was fantastic. It wasn't a lucky game. It wasn't lucky goals. It wasn't that they were a better team and we got goals against the run of play. Not only did we win 2-0, 2-0 is flattering for City, not for United, because we hit the post, we hit the bar, Harry's header nearly went in 3 minutes into the match. Was it 3 offside goals? Bruno had 1. We had 3 Mason Mounts, and there was one before Bruno's. Bruno's was the second. Ahmad had 1, didn't he? We had 3 offside goals, so it literally could have been 5-0. Literally, if our players knew how to hold the line, or with Cunha. Because there was one where Cunha was supposedly offside, but he actually definitely offside, and it was literally a toenail hair. But anyway, definitely could have been 5. Now, obviously I have to address the elephant in the room. So we're going to go all the way down to the start. Right down here. Harry's header, nearly. Dalot got himself a yellow. Now, Dalot got himself a yellow for studs. You've probably seen it on the thumbnail. Studs first into the knee of Jeremy Doku. Now, I'm going to share Now, obviously, this is a still image because I can't play footage. And I'll tell you as what, everybody who was on the stream the other day, do you remember I played the really handshake between, who was it? Who was it? It was Ange and Tuchel, wasn't it? Hello, Winnie. Thank you for joining us. Nice to see you, friend. But you remember I played that very, very small, like 10 seconds off them shaking hands? So I got copyrighted for that. The Premier League put in a copyright complaint because it was their footage from 2022, that handshake. And so I had to remove that part of the video because they copyrighted me for that, for a handshake. So I can't play anything, which is, it's just crazy. Like, it was literally a handshake. But anyway, so I am sharing the still image so that we don't attract unwanted attention. But as you can see here, his leg is outstretched. His foot is high because that, so this, we're up into the thigh area here. Studs first. And I mean, look the way his leg is. I mean, if there's more pressure on that, his leg does slightly bend the other way. But I mean, if it was more pressure, it would have been really, really, really bad. So, and what they said on the official reason that it was only a yellow and it wasn't upgraded to a red, what they said was that it was fleeting and force. Therefore, yellow was the correct decision and it wasn't going to be opened. I personally think it was reckless and I think it was dangerous and I think it could have caused a serious injury. I think it's a red. I think it's a red all day, every day. Now, I'm very happy it wasn't given as a red because it suits my team. And I think if you go down 10 men, it may have been a different situation. But it's the other way around. If Doku is doing that to Dalot, I am screaming for a red. I'm absolutely screaming for a red. I think it's reckless and I think it's dangerous and I think it's a red. I'll take it all day long. But I have to be honest, I do think it's a red. And I actually think we've really, really got away with one there. I also think if that's Casemiro instead of Dalot, the red's given. So I do think it highlights that sometimes certain players are treated differently. As I said, I'll take it. I'm playing, but I do also have to be honest. So I just wanted to put that out there before we talk about all the happy stuff. Now, I see we have Ray Ray in the chat. Welcome to the chat, Ray Ray. Nice to have you. He said Doku had a bad touch and let Dalot go for the ball. So the ball wasn't under Doku's control. Dalot had every right to go for the ball. Every right to go for the ball. I just think the way he went for the ball was dangerous. Look, it wasn't given. They've told us why it wasn't given. I just know if it was the other way around, if it was Doku doing that to Dalot, I'd be for a red. But look, we were the better team by a mile. PFC TV is in the house. Nice to see you, friend. What an excellent win yesterday. And that is what we're going to discuss next, because obviously because I think it's only fair. But let me get out of this image. But, so that's it. Former PGMOL referee Mike Dean on Dalot's challenge on Doku. It's high, it's across the kneecap. It's a red card all day long, 100% card. So I have that. I have the poll in the chat, and you might agree with me. Me and Mike Dean, he might disagree with us. Not care because we won anyway. But let me see. Where am I? I have many things I want to share, but none of them are that. So we're back to the match. But so outside of that, which most people seem to be saying is a bit orange, it's hard to tell. So we'll just go with what the referee said. They've given a fair reason. We wasn't given. We were by far and away a million miles the better team. We were attacking. We took the game to them. We weren't afraid. We as well. We were playing fast football. We were fast, attacking, moving forward football. So one of the problems that I've had with Manchester United over the last while is that we've been not only terrible, we've been really, really, really boring. Okay, so I don't think this is 100% accurate. See this attack momentum. I don't think that's accurate at all because I watched the entire match. This looks more an orientation of the possession rather than an a representation of the attacking momentum, because City did have the vast majority of the possession. However, they did not have the vast majority attacking football, because what they were doing is they were getting the possession, but then they were passing side to side, backward, forward, side to side again, round in a circle. They weren't moving forward and attacking City. Manchester United were getting it forward, long ball, fast ball, and something we've been doing the last while under both Amram and under Ten Hag was very much get the ball, stop, look around to see who's next to us, who we can pass to. Do we want to go forward, sideward, or backward? By the time 6 minutes later we've decided the way we actually want to pass the ball, their defensive setup is completely, because we've just waited for them to get back into place. Whereas yesterday what we were doing was getting the ball, pass it forward, get the ball, pass it forward. They didn't have time to get their defensive setup in place. We took it through the lines. We were playing to the strengths of our players. What I will say, and maybe not all of you will know, a lot of you will know because you're on the channel with me so much, but we have some new people in the house. So I have to confess, Bruno is not my favourite player in the world. I don't love him the way some people do. However, I thought yesterday he was absolutely sensational. And I think it's very important, whether a player is our favourite or not, we have to be honest, we have to be fair, and we have to give credit where it's due. Yesterday, I thought he was absolutely sensational. Yesterday, we saw the best of Bruno Fernandes. Absolutely 100%. I was delighted. We were so much better with Harry Maguire back in the side. And I just think no footballer ever in the whole future of football will ever have a comeback arc the same as Harry Maguire, because this man was vilified. This man written off. He was the worst captain that had ever existed in Manchester United. He was the most expensive flop we'd ever had. We shouldn't have bought him. He was Ollie's biggest mistake. It was just, he was terrible. That was the narrative with Harry Maguire. And I don't think the whole lot of it was entirely unjustified. However, since the captaincy was taken off him, this man has grown. He has grown 10 foot tall. He has shown leadership. He has shown mentality. He has shown talent. He has shown the player he can be. And my goodness me, what were we like yesterday at the back between Leeds and Maguire? Haaland was barely in the game. In the game, you wouldn't have known he existed, to the point where he was really substituted off. He had 0 shots on target in that game. And I saw some of our ex-players, ex-legends, how Haaland was going to pick up Martinez and was going to put him in his pocket, blah, 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 blah. Well, I hope that they are big enough to come out and say, do you know what? We got that completely wrong. That's what we thought was going to happen. We were wrong. The man killed it. Maguire, and just to say, Maguire and Martinez have not played together in a back four since 2024. It's about a year since they have played in a back four together as the two centre-backs. Maguire is literally just about back from injury, and Martinez, as we know, isn't long back from injury himself. They were unbelievable. Also, Dorgu. Patrick Dorgu, I was so pleased for him that he scored, because he revolution this season. Me and other fans were thinking, oh no, he is one of these duds. He's one of these players, he's one for the future, he's developmental, he's going to be a superstar, and then we just weren't seeing it. It wasn't happening. It wasn't clicking. This season, he is a whole new player. And can I just see him more forward on the wings, left and right? He has been sensational, but he's so good. He can play at left back. He can play left wing, play right wing, wherever you put him, he will play. And actually, the more you seem to move around, the more variety you give him, the better he seems to be. He was phenomenal, and that goal has been coming. It was so well deserved. And a culmination of improvement to get his goal. I was so pleased for him. There were people in the fan base, and understandably, because we have to question everything our club does at the minute, because how many times do they get it right? But there were people unsure of the fact that Brian Mbeumo was going to play up front as the striker and have Sesko on the bench after he scored. Is it 3 in the last 2 he had scored? So he was starting to get on a bit of a streak, and then, right, he's not had a good season. Sesko's not been doing well since we got him. But now that he is starting to do well, you're putting him on the bench for someone who's not actually a... That's a wee bit questionable. It could go wrong. And while I was happy to see Mbeumo starting up front, particularly against a team like City, I think you needed more physicality. I think you needed more nous. I think you needed that Premier League sort of thing. I understood the decision, but I also understood the concern that people had, because it's... how can you not have concerns? Not have concerns about our team and about our decisions after what we've been through for the last nearly years? I think it's impossible not to have concerns, so I understand those people. However, I think Michael Carrick is fully justified in his decision. I think justified his decision for him. Again, getting his goal, absolutely unbelievable. Just the team play was excellent. The understanding was excellent. The whole team. And Sene Lammens getting a clean sheet against Manchester City. Can we just give a shout out to Sene Lammens? Because when he came, I was unsure. People were unsure. He was young, he was developmental, he's not very, very experienced, and we need someone who is a stalwart at the back. We were obviously traumatised after the Onana situation, Bayindir situation, and there was concerns. Sene Lammens, absolute revelation, and if he continues how he's going, he is going to be world class. He is going to be unbelievable, and to get that feather in his cap off a no goal, nil point against Manchester City is absolutely unbelievable. I just thought the whole team performance was excellent yesterday. Obviously, both Luke Shaw and Diogo Dalot were on yellows from the very, very start of the match. Amad Diallo and Patrick Dorgu, as well as being excellent going forward, were getting back, were in defending, were helping their team out. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I don't know if everybody's seen it. Again, I can't play it because it'll copyright me, but the footage of Casemiro jumping on the back of Carrick when we won the match, celebrating, I just think people look, they've come for the money, they don't love the club, they're mercenaries, they're this. I'm sorry, you cannot fake that level of passion that he was showing. It's unbelievable. This man has 5 champions. That's the way he's celebrating. That is what you want. And it was just so lovely. I enjoyed it so much. Next week might be back to earth. Next week might be another big scalp. We don't know. I'm absolutely going to enjoy every single minute. I have had my say on the match and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that so much. As you know, I have been so sick this week. I have been knocked for 6 with a bug. I actually ended up having to come home early yesterday as well from work because I just literally, I was not fit. I was dizzy and everything. But this match cheered me up no end. I loved it. Get your comments in. I see they're flying in. I see everybody's in the house. I see we're all in, because I do, in fairness, as much as I love my team and I wanted to talk about that game so much, I do also want to talk, because we've a mixed group in the house. We've other people, and I want to make sure that we talk about all of the teams and that everybody feels that they're seen as seen. But of course, I had to celebrate. I had to celebrate that so much with my fellow Manchester United fans. So, I'm in the house. So let's go back all the way up, and I'm going to fly through these to the next match, okay? So Ray said, and this is about the Dalot, it's high, but it's not 2-footed, and he didn't follow through. So the is high, and we agree on that. The 2-footed part isn't relevant. It doesn't have to be 2-footed to be dangerous. It can still be dangerous with 1 foot. He didn't follow through. That's essentially what they said. He didn't follow through. There wasn't enough force. It was fleeting. That's why it wasn't given. So they're agreeing with that point there. The lad didn't follow through. That's exactly why it wasn't given as a red. FCTV is saying, Lou, just love vibes. As a female content creator myself, just love the channel. Thank you so much. Absolutely love it. We have to gather out there. I have to say, the lovely lads in my chat are so supportive. I'm sure on your channel as well, but definitely we are moving around in a man's world. It is nice to have some support. As I said, our house, Ray is saying the United wide men sprinted marathons yesterday. They absolutely did. They run their little socks off at the end of the match. They were completely spent, and I watch a lot of the MMA. I love the MMA. And you can see at the end of a fight, when the fight and do you know the break when they're calculating the results before Bruce Buffer or whoever is going to be doing it, depending on the organisation, is going to shout out the result, and you have a break, and some of the fighters, they're on their back, they're on the seats, they're wiggling their arms, they're panting, they're absolutely busted after fighting the life out of themselves. And then you have yon boy over there or yon girl over there, and they're doing somersaults and backflips and everything, and you're going, if you still have that much energy at the end of the fight, you didn't put all into the fight. It's exactly the same for the match. If you are not on your knees heaving after the match, you didn't leave everything on the pitch, there you didn't deserve to win. So to see our players so exhausted yesterday, I don't see that as a negative. I see that absolutely fantastic. It shows the amount of effort and energy they put into the match. And as PFC TV said, so proud of the boys yesterday. I totally agree. Also, excuse me, I'm the same. Bruno was excellent. Wouldn't be my favourite. He was excellent. Yesterday's game was the best game of the season. It's very hard to disagree. Ray is saying Bruno destroyed Rodri. Yes, Rodri did not have a good time yesterday at all. He got his wee yellow card. Ray is saying Maguire was solid, and PFC TV is saying the butcher does. And we are all just so on the same page. We're so on the same page. Love it. PFC TV with a big shout, I think get a result against Arsenal next week. Well, wouldn't that set the pigeons? That would be hysterical. So I actually now, after beating City, I believe it's possible. Everything is possible. Anybody who saw me last week, I was such a misery guts. I didn't believe in anything. I wasn't bothered. I had no time for it. It wasn't happening. Now, 2-0 against, could have been 5, and I'm like, we can take on the world. And that's what it's about, football fans. That is what it's about, the highs and the lows and the roller coaster. Goals and butt are going to have to sort themselves out. Rob Alwood United is telling us that he loves Dorgu. I also love Dorgu, and it's so young player actually blossom at Manchester United, because we don't see that few years. PFC TV is saying Cara got the team selection spot on. Absolutely did. Ray, thank you for reminding me. It's something that I was today, and so I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to forget. I'm talking about your comment that much, I've lost it. Cunha was a master stroke. The benefit of the way we set up was that we had actual substitutions. So one of the things people have been saying is, if you go back to a 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, 4-3-3, whatever different variation, anything that's not a 3-4-3, how are you then going to get best players on the pitch? There's going to have to be players to go to the bench. However, they're sort of in a negative or as a concern. The thing is, when we had all of our best players on the pitch in the starting 11, and then if it didn't work, nobody to come on and try and fix it then. We had nobody on the bench as an impact sub, as a change. Whereas yesterday, because to drop or rest or rotate some of our best normally start and have them starting from the bench, we then got to the 60th minute later into the match, and we wanted to make changes but not lose momentum and not drop off. We were able to take off an Mbeumo on Acuna. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of subs we were able to make. We were subs that didn't drop the strength of our team. Yeah, what a master stroke. Could have had 2 assists, only Mount. I don't think Mount was offside. I think that was a nonsense. I don't think he was offside. I think that counted. I think it was ridiculous. So as far as I'm concerned, Cunha comes straight on the pitch and we got 2 goals. It just unbelievable. Love it. Just love it. It was so good. Let me see. Rob, after yesterday's performance, I'm wondering if the team down tools from him. I don't think so, Rob. I really genuinely don't think so, because they were genuinely sad to see him go. I think they didn't fully understand the system, didn't fully play to their strengths. I think he maybe didn't understand how to get more out of them. I don't think they just didn't bother. I think it was more a case of it was a mismatch. I think the team and the manager matched. So I think that's just it. PFC TV is saying the scoreline doesn't reflect our dominance. It really doesn't. It flatters City 100%. Guest is saying, happy Casemiro, happy, so pleased from, also so pleased from. Thank you, PFC TV. I'll me to feel better soon. Folks, if it's lagging a little bit, it is not your end. It does appear to be my end. I'm hoping it's not like super duper bad, because I can't really do anything at the minute short of like stopping the stream. But what I'll do is I'll just know not to use this setup again in future. But hopefully the sound is still coming through okay. If the sound is dodgy, let me know and I'll like pause thing I can do. But if not, I'm gonna have to be a bit robotic. It's a tribute to Erling Haaland. Terrible match yesterday is my robot page back. But see if it is lagging slightly. It seems to be it's my end. I'm using a different streaming system than I normally use. I was testing it out. The test is it's not going to be the one I use going forward. But like that, I hope the sound is okay for you guys coming in. If this starts to go funky, let me know and I will just have to see what I can do on the fly. But what I'm going to do for the moment is I'm going to move on to the rest of the matches, because obviously I'm thoroughly excited, but we do have a group in here today. I want to talk about everybody's team. So after us, we have Chelsea, who beat Brentford 2-0. Now, I saw the first half of this match, and then during half-time of this match, I had to run to vomit, essentially. Sorry, I have a soft disposition, but I had to run to the toilet to vomit, and then I had to close my shop and drive home because I was just not well enough to be in my clothes if you're vomiting on them. So I went home. So I didn't see the second half of this match. But in the first half, early on, penalty at one point. There wasn't enough contact. It wasn't given. It was never a penalty. It was very much kind of an equal match. I thought well in it. But João Pedro scored 27 minutes in, had been doing well up until that point. And even the commentator remarked when Chelsea went up, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, because 8 times this season, Chelsea have been ahead at home. They have gone on to only win 4 of those and have lost 3 of them. So even the commentator wasn't feeling particularly positive about Chelsea's chances at 1-0 up. Had been flying high. So Brentford are now, where have Brentford gone? I have lost Brentford. Where are they? So Brentford are now in 7th, but even before that, they were a way back up here. Do you know what I mean? So Brentford were doing very, very, very well. They're still doing very, very, very well. But I mean, when we were doing our predictions, a lot of us put a draw or Brentford win, because Chelsea have been so unpredictable and Brentford have been doing so well. But obviously Liam Rosenior and his unusual, his clapping with no gloves, his hand washing, his team building, whatever it is that man's doing, we can laugh all we want, but it's working because they beat Brentford, a very good Brentford, 2-0. So you just can't argue with that. Do you know what I mean? Then Leeds versus Fulham, we thought was going to be an absolute goal fest. We were doing 3-2, 2-3, 3-3. We thought there was going to be goals all over the place. 1-0 to Leeds. And Fulham were on an excellent, so where are Fulham after going? Before that, Fulham were on a very good run of form. They were doing very, very well. Leeds had not been on form, and I think there was a loss in here before this one. So it's against their current form. Sometimes when these players play each other, it's lads, has the stream cut out on me completely, or can you still hear me? I saw there was a bit of a load there, so I don't know if I've gone on yous all together or if you can still see and hear me, please. I'm going to keep talking until he tells me that you can't hear me. And then at that point, I will panic. Yes, so we expected lots of goals. Thank you, let me know. We did think based on form, Fulham were likely to win, but as we know, it's not always. Football is not played on paper. Sometimes it's not about form or anything else. It's Leeds took the points. Lads, what I'm going to do, because I don't want to keep going when the stream isn't a good quality, I'm going to fly through the rest of these results. I'm going to finish her up in the next 5 minutes. And then what I will do, if I will try and get this sorted. And very briefly on the next stream, obviously I won't say the things I've already said, but definitely what we have learned today is that this system, big bad. big bad. So I will try and get on StreamYard for you either later this evening or tomorrow, and that way we have these issues. For the people that are new in the house, so obviously Ray is pretty new with us regular, but you know, for everybody who maybe is new or is watching, not quite in the chat, isn't here all the time, this is not normally what my streams look like. They're normally much smoother than this. We don't normally have this lagging. So I do appreciate your patience with me. Maybe I just talk too fast. Maybe the system cannot keep up with me. But Liverpool have failed to beat Burnley. And I wrote the stat down because I thought this was very interesting. So Slot so far has no wins yet in 2026. 5 wins in his last 17 games, which is brutal. And he has failed to beat any of the 3 promoted sides at home at Anfield. That is a dreadful record. And can I just, if that was a record that Manchester United had, or maybe us, I think it would be getting more spotlight. And I don't understand. Maybe it's because he won the Premier League. Why do you think he's not under more pressure? Because I think when you read out those stats, when you look at that record, surely he should be under more pressure than he is. And I don't know why not. He seems to be under pressure from a section of the Liverpool fan base, but not necessarily by the media or by a majority of fans. Is it because there's so many other things happening in the league? So like Tom Frank looks ready to be sacked. Glasner is begging to. Glasner is out here talking an absolute madness at the minute. He's begging to be sacked. So is that why Slot isn't more under the mind? There's so many other things happening. So obviously Amram went, and then it was the United caretaker job for a week, and then we got Carrick in, and then Frank's going to be sacked, and then there's begging to be sacked in interviews. And it's a case of, is Slot flying under the radar because there's so much else happening? Is it because it's Liverpool? Is it because he's won the Premier League? Why do you think he's not getting more flack? Because his record is absolutely dreadful, and I don't really understand why he's not under more of a microscope. Well, I saw Arsenal. What is Ray saying to me? Let me see. Ray is saying, I'm a Gooner, by the way, and yes, we are bottling this league. Ray, I did not expect that. I read the part that said you were a Gooner, and I thought, going to give out to me and say, we're not bottling it. What are you talking about? My brother, just for Ray, so you know, because you're reasonably new for us, my brother is also an Arsenal fan, okay? And he texted me when he saw this title, how are you rage baiting me? And I was like, no, I just genuinely think you could have went an extra 2 points ahead of City, which you consider to be your primary, title contender. Why, like, not? How is that not, failing to capitalise? So he was raging. So I thought you were going to give out to me as well. But no, that's okay, Ray. I don't actually think you are going to bottle it. Disappointingly, I actually think you're going to win this. Disappoints me. It breaks my heart. But I do think you are going to win it. Aaron is in the house. Nice to see you, Aaron. Do you know what, Aaron? That was excellent timing, because we're literally, and I mean literally, just speaking about Liverpool Burnley 1-1. And my question was, and you might be the best person to answer this, why do you think Slot doesn't seem to be under more pressure? Because obviously I've seen that there are Liverpool fan base, there's a part of them that are very vehemently sought out, but in terms of the media and maybe outside noise, there doesn't seem to be a lot for a poor record. And I was saying maybe it's because Maresca parted ways, Amram was again, Frank potentially now is sack talk, and then Glasner is just doing a madness. Is it a case of there's so much madness that Slot has actually skirted under the radar because there's too many things to talk about? Is it because he won the Premier League? Or do you think there's still a chunk of your fans that maybe aren't ready to get rid of him? Because you know better than me. So just very curious. Your timing was phenomenal there. So thanks for joining right at that moment. Really appreciate it. Wonderful. PFC TV is saying, I think Slot has lost the dressing. I mean, that's very possible. I think when he fell out with Salah, he definitely lost some of them. I don't know if he's lost all, but potentially. So then, in his Liverpool expertise, because Aaron is a Liverpool fan, I'm unsure. I think Slot is learning at the is leaving at the end of the season. I think we probably have a replacement lined up in the summer. Makes a lot of sense. They don't want to destabilize in the middle of the season. A season is probably already gone, which, to be fair, you're still up in like league spots. So like you're still in fourth, considering how dreadful your season's been. So if he can carry us to the end of the season, get us into Champions League, and you have somebody lined up in the summer to take over and not destabilise the club, that makes a lot of sense. Something I hadn't considered. Good point. That's why you're here. Ray is in Liverpool are just showing loyalty to the manager until they have a consent. And Ray, obviously, as he has just told us, is an Arsenal fan. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They've somebody lined up for the summer. They don't want to sack him the season after he won the Premier League. They want to end of the season, not destabilize the whole thing, but in the summer he's going to go. That makes sense. And actually, I'll be honest, it's very Liverpool. Liverpool don't like to be dramatic. Liverpool don't like to, go out there and do crazy things. They like to try and do things at a more level pace than the rest of us, because I know my club would just sack him. So yeah, that's a very Liverpool way to go about it if you're going to sack a manager. Yeah, totally understand. And Jimbo in the house. Thank you. Nice to see you. Now, for those just joining, there is a bit of lag on the stream. I'm not using my normal streaming platform. It's been a bit mischievous. It's not 100% okay, but don't worry, it's not your end. It is very much my end. Please do just smash a like on the video, get a vote on the poll, and we're nearly... So where did we stop off? Yes, so Sunderland beat Crystal Palace. I was not surprised by this. Anybody who watched our live the other day, I did expect Sunderland to beat Crystal Palace. I think Sunderland have been very, very good this season. I remember at the start of the season, people were saying they're not going to last. It's not sustainable. They're not going to stay in and around it. It's just basically beginner's luck and they're going to fall down the table. 8th is still incredibly good for a team that was just promoted. The amount of players they had at AFCON, obviously some of those are now returning, but they've done incredibly well. And Crystal are just in utter chaos. We saw... It was a while ago that Glasner was going to leave, and then they've lost 2 very important players, and then it came out officially that Glasner was leaving, and then Glasner came out, and I wonder, have I got this stuff here? If my computer can actually hold itself together, and I will play this. I think I'm going to try. All right, so if I go here. Here. Now, so you should be able to see this. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but I have the subtitles on screen. So I need more hamsters to keep the connection. I don't think it's the internet. I think it's the streaming. I think it's the actual system, because it's my usual internet and it doesn't normally lag like this. So I think that it is to I think it's the system I'm using. Never going to use it again. Ever. I'm never using this system again. It just seems to be brutal. I'm going to try and play this, and you let me know if it works in any way.
Players give everything they could. We have seen we have made no substitution. Look at the bench, just kids there in our attack. And I said before, we feel that we are being abandoned completely. And selling our captain one day before a game.
Perfect, thank you, Paige.
Completely no understanding for this. We're preparing, and then yesterday at 10:30 I get told that our captain will be sold. So why not next week, that we can play at least this game next week? And other players are coming back, and that's makes me really upset today. If your heart gets torn out twice a year, and with Eze one day before a game in summer, and your captain one day before a game. I've just no understanding. I'm in football now for more than 30 years. I've never experienced this, not once, and now it happens twice within 6 or 7 months.
Now, I thought that was very, very, very interesting. Now, I don't know, as far as I play, I should be allowed to play interviews and stuff like that, but if you're coming back to see this later and you can't see the video, it's because they've copyrighted me again. So remove that section. But for everyone who's here live, you can see it, which is good. And also it played perfectly, which my internet is completely fine. The problem is the streaming platform. So we're going to go back to streaming. But yeah, I just thought it was very, very interesting. He found they were selling their captain the day before he was sold, the day before a match. And it's the second time they've sold a key player. He has found out the day before a match. I mean, how can you be happy about that? How can you be happy? You lose Eze match and then you lose your captain the day before a match. I mean, can they possibly justify that? Now, I understand there's probably Crystal Palace fans out there that are angry with maybe the way he's gone about things, but that equally maybe understand it. But I mean, I completely understand his anger. They're kneecapping him. How can he possibly do his job? When they're doing that to him? And who is going to want to go into that club and take a job hearing the way they're behaving? Because that's a disgrace. People say Crystal Palace are falling off. Crystal Palace aren't doing well. Crystal Palace are dropping down the league, dangerously down the league, which they are. I mean, it's hard to not understand why. Honestly, when I read the quotes, and then I heard the actual interview, I couldn't believe that was real, that they really absolutely dreadful. And so it came out, it was rumoured this morning that they weren't happy with his, that they were bemused and angered, and that they were considering sacking him. Kate and Jimbo, which I was assuming is our Kate, is saying there, it has now come out that Palace have decided not to sack him, but he is spot on about what he said. They had such a good opportunity to build on last season's success. So yeah, that is actually very surprising, because honestly, that, but what PFC TV is saying, the Palace board is on a shoestring budget. So if they're on a shoestring budget to the point where they're selling their captain match, maybe they can't afford to sack him. Maybe they can't afford to pay him out of contract. So Kate's in there, confirmed by TalkSport, they won't be sacking him. So thank you, Kate, for bringing that in. Appreciate it, because the last thing I saw was that they were considering it live. But I mean, maybe they can't afford to sack him. Maybe he's hoping for it. Maybe he's going for the whole Maresca Amram tactic, because that's worse than what either of them said. But they can't afford it. If they're in a financial position where they have to sell and a player like Eze a day before a match, then maybe they can't afford to pay him out of his contract. But I mean, that is a matter genuinely. It's, and then we go, as our Kate is saying here, the next one was Spurs lost to West Ham. This is West Ham that are in 18th, as you can see on your screen, with 17 points, 2-1. And so Kate is saying that Frank gets sacked today. Kate has been incredibly patient, incredibly understanding, has hoped and hoped and hoped it would turn good, has not been one of those reactionary fans that sometimes when things go wrong just comes out there. So if Kate has lost patience and Kate is saying she hopes he's sacked, I would suggest that means a majority of fans are going to feel that way. And that's what I mean. I think it's a case of Frank's likely going to be next. But the Premier League are going to run out of managers. Like, people were laughing at the fact that that Chelsea brought in Liam Rosenior. But it's a case of they're going to bring in that hasn't already been sacked in the Premier League, because we're taking all these managers in, these up-and-comers, and then we're sacking them. We're going through 2 and 3 managers per team in a season. So you're getting to the point at you're just point where there's no managers left. Who are you going to hire? So I think Frank benefited from that slightly in terms of having a bit of extra patience, but losing 2-1 to West Ham, I think, is more the straw that breaks camel's back rather than the reason that somebody's getting sacked. I think it's been coming and coming and coming, but it's what's happening in the Premier League. What is happening? Do you know what I'm going to do after this stream when my internet is still working? I'm going to look at what is the record for most managers sacked in a single season? Because I feel like we have to be approaching it for the most managers sacked in one season. I'm going to look that up. Somebody remind me. Actually, I'm going to write it down. Because if I don't write it down, I'll be like, what was that thing? So I have to. Most managers sacked in one season. Record. I'm one of those people and say something and then write something else. I would write what I'm saying, so I have to do that. Sorry, I'm like a 2-year-old. And last but not least, maybe least, sorry, Arsenal drew to Forest. That would be Forest, 7th place Forest, 22, who are on their 3rd manager of the season. Sean Dyche is another one under pressure. Honestly, I've seen both sides. I've seen people saying that Arsenal didn't fail to capitalise on City's loss to United because they've widened the gap by 1 point. It's 1 point bigger than it was before, therefore they have capitalised because they've made it bigger, which logically makes sense. However, when I say they failed to capitalise, what I mean is they went 3 points. They could have made the gap 3 points bigger in a very beatable team, a team that they would have been expected to beat, a team that we predicted they would beat 3 or 4-0. So I think, for me, they failed because it's a team they should have beaten well and they didn't, therefore they failed. And they didn't capitalise, gone 3 points more of a gap, and they've only got 1 point more. And I think Arteta and the players would probably feel they failed to make the most of that opportunity as well. It's not a stick to beat Arsenal, but when you have an opportunity to do something massive and you do something big, it doesn't feel as good. I would feel, if that was United, have felt and said for United against these teams, failed to take the opportunity to move into the 4th place position when other teams have dropped points. We've played beatable opposition. We have failed to cap other teams doing badly. So all I am saying about Arsenal is the exact same thing that I said about my own team. I think Arsenal this season is so polarising. I think it's so polarising because there are massive content creators out there that are speaking about Arsenal every day in every video. I think there's a certain small specific segment of the Arsenal fan base that are shameless, and all of our fan bases have them. Top of the league, it gives you the energy to be more shameless, and I think they're sometimes the more vocal fans, and I think people get sick of hearing it, and I think everybody wants to bring down the team at the top. So for example, if City was winning the league at the moment, if City were in our position and Arsenal were the one chasing, everybody would be hating on City. I think if, maybe not Aston Villa because people like them, I think if Liverpool were top of the league again, hello Cal, nice to see you, thanks for joining. I think if Liverpool were top of the league and were in Arsenal's position and it was Arsenal chasing, I think everybody would be hating on Liverpool. People are hating on the team at the top because it's not. Therefore, they hate the team that's doing better than their team. And I think sometimes people make that a bit personal. It's not personal. It's not real hate in the real meaning of the word hate. But I mean, of course you want to lag off the team that's doing better than your team. I mean, that's how football works, lads. So I think the problem is when it gets personal. It's not personal. I do think Arsenal failed to make the most of it. I do think they should have 3 points instead of 1. And I do think they should have beaten Nottingham Forest. I think it was a result for them. And if it was my team, if it was United that drew 0-0 with Forest, I would say it was a poor result. And we're terrible. So if Arsenal, who are top of the league, of course it's a poor result to draw 0-0 to Forest. Of course it is. So I just think we need to be real sometimes. I just think we need to, sometimes we'll run away with ourselves a wee bit. Ray, who is an Arsenal fan. Arsenal are being handed the league on a plate and doing our best to throw it away. I just think it was a terrible result. If that was my team, I mean, you're still in a very, very good position. But if that was my team, and I've seen my team win many leagues, I would feel like you're trying to throw it away when you're putting in performances and results like that. So again, can your team perform under pressure? Your team saw that City dropped points that should have, given them an extra oomph going into the match, and it fell flat. They didn't use that motivation. They panicked and they win. And so I understand that. So Cal, who is obviously also an Arsenal fan, says, I'm the bad guy for being upset with the result. Oh, I would well believe it. I would, considering the company that you keep, I can completely understand that you are the bad guy for the bad result. I'm sorry, 0-0 against 17th place Nottingham Forest is a bad result. End of story. It's a bad result. If you then add extra context of your primary rivals for the title dropped points that same day, it's an extra bad result. Tough if you don't like it. It's bad. Big bad. You lost points. You failed. That's it. It doesn't mean you're going to bottle the league. It doesn't mean Arteta needs to be sacked. It doesn't mean blow up. It just means this specific match was about and it should have been better. It's very straightforward. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand. But Cal and Ray, it's a safe place here. You can be disappointed with drawing 0-0 to Forest. We are not going to slate you or tell you to be happy. You get it all out of your system. Don't you worry, lads. Now, coming up today, Wolves, Newcastle, and we have Aston Villa, Everton. So, I'm talking there a lot about Arsenal and City, but I want to finish on this. So, many people, and I actually saw a person you know, Cal, say Aston Villa they're irrelevant. Aston Villa, who are currently on the same points as Manchester City, with a game to play, Everton to play, apparently are irrelevant in the title race. Well, let me tell you something. If irrelevant Aston Villa win their match today, 46 points, they are 4 points behind Arsenal, and they will not need 3 matches to catch you, which is what was being said yesterday. I would just like to say Aston Villa are absolutely not irrelevant whatsoever. They are absolutely consistent. They're playing absolutely well. And the Unai Emery motivation to catch Arsenal and undo them has to be massive. I think, do you know when we talk about a derby and we say, look, you don't play football on paper. We say a derby takes on a life of its own. So, for example, yesterday, Manchester United have been dreadful. Manchester City, obviously, are Manchester City. We beat them and we should have smashed them 4 or 5-0. Unai Emery against Arsenal, I think, has the type of a derby. Now, Cal is doubling down with his pal and saying Aston Villa are irrelevant. I absolutely, totally disagree. And I think that's where people start to have a problem with Arsenal fans, because I think that's arrogant. And I think it's insulting. They could end up 4 points behind you by the end of today. That's not irrelevant. In fact, I would say that's very, very, very relevant. And I think what can lose you titles is being arrogant. And I think if your manager and your team are arrogant, then they're not going to be looking over their shoulders. And that's how they drop points. I think you draw matches 0 when you're arrogant and when you think teams are irrelevant. And I think that's a mistake that's made often. So I don't think they're irrelevant at all. I think there's a lot of people hoping that they topple you. And comments like that are why. Just to put that out there. Now, the other match, Newcastle Wolves. Now, I'm personally very interested in this because everybody knows I'm having a love story with Wolves this season, and I just want them to get some more points. Obviously, our Ash and our Mama Flossie are Newcastle fans. The problem is, if Newcastle beat Wolves today, so Newcastle are currently on 32, if they win, they get 3 points. That brings them up to 5 points, which is the same as my team, Manchester United. If they beat them 1 or by 1 goal, they will end up on the same goal difference as us. So I don't know then, does it go on goals scored or does it go on head-to-head? But essentially, it would mean Newcastle's up here, either us and putting us into 6 or just behind us and, chasing us. So as much as I love our Flossie, as much as I love our Newcastle, as much as I, every other week, want you guys to win, hey guys, my love today is for Wolves. Now, what I would say is also, Wolves have been doing well. Wolves have started to score goals, and even those weren't particularly bad games. So Wolves have been doing well, to build a bit of momentum. They did very well in the cup the other day. So this is obviously their games, but they scored 5 goals. I think 6 goals in their cup the other day. I don't think this is going to be an easy game. Arsenal struggled. Liverpool struggled. United struggled. They've started to build momentum. They're scoring goals. And I think they're going into this match at home with confidence. And I think Newcastle have struggled a little bit. They've been on And it depends. I actually think it depends if Wissa or Voltemada play. I also think it depends how tired Newcastle are. So I think it's not going to be, I think Newcastle will win. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as some people are assuming. I do think it's going to match. But my heart is with Wolves. I'm sorry. I love you. Is the lineup's out? Flossie's telling me the lineup. Right, let me see. I forgot we're so close to kickoff. We're less than an hour. Look at this. I can get confirmed lineups for everybody. Thank you, Flossie, for letting me know. So, for Newcastle, Nick Pope, Lewis Hall, Sven Botman, Thiaw, Trippier. It is not. Where's Sarah Lewis Smiley? Where is he? Oh, is he suspended? Is he not? Is he tired? Flossie, you let me know. But it's not Lewis Smiley, which is astounding. Joe Linton, Nally, Gamerish, Barnes, Voltemada. So it is Big Nick up front. It's Nala, which I think is better for you guys, and Anthony Gordon. So, and then obviously you guys can see the Wolves lineup there as well. Mane is someone we're all keeping an eye on because he's been absolutely unbelievable. Did I say that right? Yeah. Hwang Hee-chan. He scored, so he's been getting scoring and assisting. This is the guy whose name Ash ruined for me forever. Tolu, we're going to call him. But yeah, so I think Newcastle should win, but I do think it will be a difficult game. I think the fact that Amada is going to be playing is better than Wissa. I think he's been more consistent and he's had a rest in the last match, more energy. The fact that you've actually got, I'm assuming this is a triple position, so Lewis Smiley is on the bench, Flossie is telling me. The poor boy probably needs rest because he's been playing all the positions and none of them his own. So I think that could make you a bit surer on this side. And obviously, as I mentioned, Hwang Hee-chan is one of their key attackers, and then Mane in behind him. So to have Trippier on that side might be better, and it's good to have Miley on the bench if you need him for legs. But yeah, so I'll be keeping an eye on that match. I think it'll be a very good match, and I'll be very, very interested to see what the actual outcome of that is, being honest with you. But lads, I'm going to go because I would say the glitching. Thank you so much. So I always appreciate when you join me. I always appreciate when you give up to join me for a show out of your day to spend it with me, and obviously in the chat. But thank you so much for your patience today. I know there was a bit of glitching. I know it was hitting. So I appreciate you and your patience and your comments and your love. It was lovely to have some new faces in the chat. I do hope everybody's going to come back. I hope everybody subscribed. And I promise the next time we will not be glitching. Football today, and I will speak to you all very, very soon. Have a good one.